Well, welcome back to CEL-SCI's channel, dedicated to research and development directed at improving the treatment of cancer, autoimmune, and infectious disease. Joining us to give us some absolutely pivotal news, we have Geert, the CEO, as always. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you so much. It took a long time to get there,
Yeah, and it's been a little.
but it's a breakthrough.
It's definitely been a little while since we've had you on as well, and I think, yeah, like you mentioned, this is pretty incredible. As CEL-SCI received the FDA go-ahead for the confirmatory study of multi-kind in the treatment of head and neck cancer. Just kind of break this down and tell us what this means for the company.
Well, our idea is that you should help cancer patients, let's keep it simple, be cured on the first treatment, right? Because we all know from personal experiences, friends and family, people get treated with cancer, surgery, radiation, chemo, they're horrible treatments, but we hope that that's the end of it. In so many cases, it's not the end of it, and the tumor comes back. And that's kind of the Navy SEALs of cancer tumors, that one that comes back, and most people will die from it. So what that means is, and the physicians know that, you have to make the first cancer treatment more successful. Well, we do that by putting an immunotherapy as a first treatment, something that regulators have told us we're the first one applying for that, right? The idea is that if I can activate your immune system while it's still healthy, because once you've had surgery, radiation, chemo, it's no longer healthy, right? If I can activate it to see and fight the cancer, then it's like adding a turbo to your car. We all know that if you add a turbo to your car is going to go a lot faster and a lot more fun to drive, right? It's the same thing here. But as the regulators told us, it hasn't been done. So when you do something first, it's great, it's wonderful, but it's always more difficult. But that's why this go-ahead from FDA is so incredibly important. And there are many, we put a long paper out that's linked inside our press release, because the complexity of something like this is much greater. Think about it this way. Dying cancer patients, I mean, literally, they're proving anything that can help potentially, right? Some of these drugs have what's known as a black label box on it. It says this drug may kill you. Well, if you're dying in any case, maybe that's an acceptable risk, right? But in our case, these people have just been diagnosed. Now, it's a nasty tumor, and more than half of them will be dead in a few years, but there's a percentage that will not die. Are you going to risk the lives of those people? No, it's a completely different analysis. And that's what we went through. Our drug is so safe that obviously they said we could do another study there, because ethically you shouldn't be able to. And you've got to show some pretty good benefit to be allowed to do this.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, the benefit of the data you already have is absolutely astounding. But you also appointed Mario Gabo to your board of directors there. Do you want to discuss what he's kind of bringing to the team?
So this is a really important point. We're starting to have not only very different negotiations with regulators, where I think we're being taken very seriously and there's a lot of interest. Obviously, what we're doing is scientifically very interesting. Normal drug trials are for dying cancer patients. We are going early on where the impact could be the greatest. But we're also having meetings with really dedicated pharma and biotech groups that are now seeing this is really quite interesting, because if you look at our study, there's some really fantastic survival data. It's just not in everybody. So, in fact, that's what the regulators saw also. And what's really happening is that there is a new class of investor that's looking at us. And the key here is that every one of those investors says, what does FDA say? Because you can think, well, I can think the data is great, but if FDA doesn't agree with us, that's it, right? But if FDA likes it, remember, they see everything, right? There are all these people who say, well, this will never be approved, or that will be approved. They don't have a clue. Even if they're brilliant, they don't have the information required to make that decision, because it's all confidential. So therefore, what you have to do is right now that we have the answer, FDA obviously reviewed this. FDA decided we could select the right patients who we know from the old study have massive survival benefit. Now there's a new class of investor. Mario Gobo used to be at Lazard and various other investment banks. Those are long-term thinkers, not the short-term traders. So again, getting access to people like that is great. But also, I can tell you in the last few weeks, I have had multiple European groups come here and visit our manufacturing facility and meet with us. All were waiting for this announcement from FDA.
I definitely appreciate the insights here. And as always, we'll pass it off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think and consider subscribing, because when news and catalyst like this hit the wire, of course, we'll bring it to you here. But on that note, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.